Friday and happy October, happy Halloween month, because it's finally the time of year. It is the spooky month we have all been waiting for, at least I have. I love October. Air is getting crisp when the sun is shining. It's getting a little bit chilly of a vibe outside. The leaves are turning gold and orange. I just really love this time of year, and I really enjoy celebrating Halloween as well. So yeah, let's dive into all the books I read in the month of September. I'm quite happy with all the books I read. Didn't end up reading everything that I hoped to read in September, but I am happy with what I was able to achieve in the end. So I would suggest let's make ourselves cozy and comfortable, grab a nice cup of tea or coffee. I'm drinking a black tea with lemongrass. It's really delicious. So I would suggest make yourselves comfortable. And if you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Juliette. Welcome. Let's become friends. You can always hit the subscribe button if you want, and I'll be here each Friday with a new video for you guys. So, and also I reached the 500 subscribers in September. Thank you so much for following me. I really appreciate you all being here. Love that you're here, especially everyone who's also leaving like comments in the comment section down below. Thank you so much. You really make my day. And further than that, I really want to stop rambling and just dive into the stack of books that I have right over here. Like, these are almost all the books I read in the month of September. There are 2 books that I'm currently still reading, which I'll talk about first, and then I dive into the other 5 books and give you guys a little bit of a little review and my thoughts and opinions about all of these reads that I had in September. In September, because my life is currently a little bit crazy, I feel right now, I also want to mention very quickly that I discussed my burnout and depression in previous videos. So if you're new here, then that might be something new. But I was diagnosed with both of these before the summer vacation started. I, however, decided to continue working. I'm a school teacher, so I thought that 6 weeks of school vacation would help me recover, which unfortunately it didn't. So I'm currently home, which is not something that I had anticipated when I started school year. I started school year not feeling that well, but I was confident that I would hopefully get through it, but unfortunately I didn't. So I'm currently home, which is also one of the reasons why I wasn't ending up reading as much as I had hoped in September. Not because I'm at home, but because I was very tired the first 3 weeks of the school year. So I didn't read a lot for those 3 weeks. I ended up reading a lot more since I'm actually home. That's a little health update for you guys. But anyhow, let's dive in my current reads. And the first book that I'm still reading is actually The Complete Poems by Keats. I didn't really expect myself to finish this in 1 month. I started reading this in September, and I kind of hope to finish this by the end of the year. That's kind of like my goal. I didn't read as much as I'd hoped in September, so I hope to pick this up a little bit more in October and make a little bit more of a progression, because currently I'm only a year, so I still have quite a lot to go. But I'm really enjoying it so far, and it's really nice to read more of his works. And I've read a couple of poems before I started reading this. A couple of them I actually reread while reading this, but yeah, I like the idea of having read all of his works. Then another book, which I am unfortunately to say, I really hope to finish it before this wrap up, but I wasn't able to. And to be quite frank, I could have done it, but I didn't want to do it because I'm enjoying this book so much that I want to take a little bit longer and not really binge read it in just one day. And that is Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. I love this. I love this right now so extremely much. I'm currently at page 151 and at chapter 12, Sweet Karma. So if you're reading it, then you know where I am. And I love it. I am enjoying it from the beginning. I love especially Lucy Jane Wood's writing style. I already loved that in Rewitched, and this one is just really hitting for me. I feel quite related to Annie in certain aspects in the way she sees the world, especially in her people-pleasing manner. Like, she really wants to make sure everyone around her is comfortable, happy, and she really takes it her time and makes it her mission to make sure that everyone is feeling happy and comfortable. And I just really am enjoying it so much. So far not a lot has happened yet, to be quite frank. Like, we are following Annie, and Annie has a bakery, And she's also a witch, and compared to Rewitched, she's using her magic a lot more. So there's definitely a lot more magic in this already, these 150 pages, which I'm really enjoying. I love how she uses magic for everything, in her bakery, in her life, the smaller things, but also some bigger things. And I just really love to see a little bit more of the magic in this world as well. This book actually takes place prior to Rewitched, so it's also very interesting to meet a couple of characters we have met in Rewitched before and to get a little bit more of a background story. I don't think you will miss out on it if you read this one first and Rewitched afterwards. I actually think you could read either way. I am actually just really enjoying it so far. I love Annie. I like the idea of her taking on someone to learn how to use her magic. Like, she needs to take care of Maeve. Maeve or Meave, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her name, but she needs to take care of her, and she needs to learn Meave or Maeve how to use her magic because she can't control it, and unfortunately she's a teenager who doesn't have any parents anymore, so she's an orphan. And I just really like that concept. I love the idea of them slowly getting to know each other. I'm not that far into the story, so I'm not entirely sure where it's going to go. There's going to happen some romance somewhere. Currently they're like in the middle of nowhere in a little cottage, and they need to take care of themselves, and they need to learn and adjust towards each other as well, because they're quite big opposites. Like, Annie, as you can see from the cover, is a very pink girl with a white cat with a pink bow, and she's very cheery, happy. And Meave, on the other hand, is a little bit more gloomy, introvert, keeps to herself, is also bullied a lot at school as well. And I don't know, they're quite big opposites, which I really like. I like to see how their relation is going to develop. So far it's a hit, and I can't wait to see how this story is going to develop. And obviously I'll talk to you guys about this one in my October wrap up a little bit more. And since we are talking about Lucy Jane Wood, I reread Rewitched before starting Uncharmed, and I love my reread of this book. I read this last year for the first time, and I was craving it and decided to pick it up. And this is a book about Belle, and Belle is a girl who works in a bookshop, and she is also a witch, but she doesn't really use her magic at all, really. And when she turned 30 years old, she needs to prove to the witch coven that she is worthy of keeping her magic. But unfortunately for Belle, she hasn't really been using her magic at all, and because of that they don't really think that she's worthy to keep her magic. So she gets one last chance, and before Halloween Eve she needs to prove to them that she's worthy of keeping her magic and being and staying a witch. And so she suddenly realizes that that is also what she wants, and she sets her mind to it. She gets a teacher who's trying to learn her how to become a good witch, really. She needs to accomplish a couple of different tasks, and in different fields of magic as well. There's a little bit of found family when it comes to her and the teacher relationship. There's also this grumpy kind of like guardian keeper who needs to make sure that she's safe and that everything goes according to plan and according to the rules. And there's a little bit of romance between them. And I don't know, I just really love this. It's definitely hitting a couple of spots in here. I don't know, I just love the writing style from Lucy Jane Wood so much. I definitely feel that in Uncharmed you can definitely notice that that is her second book, because I think that her writing style has even more improved. And I already enjoyed it a lot in Rewitched. It's a 5-star for me. It's just one of my favorite books of all time, and I love it so much. Talk about one of the books that I did not love as much, and then we can gush about the other ones that I read as well this month. And that's The Baby Dragon Cafe by E.T. Kersey. I really hope I pronounced it right. My expectations might have been a little bit too high. I think that the concept of the story is really good and very enjoyable. However, my problem with this book is the writing style, really. We do not really connect, the writing style and me. Like, I really do not like the way the story is written, especially the dialogue between the characters is not my cup of tea. They're very direct, they feel very childish, especially our main character. Her reactions are just extremely childish, very emotional, and to me they do not make a lot of sense. And she says a lot of things that I think you wouldn't normally say, and it just feels very unrealistic. Like, I know it's about a baby dragon cafe, like there are dragons in here, that's not the point. Like, I know it's a magical world, but the way the characters behave just feel not realistic to me. And especially, there are just a couple of things, and I do not want to spoil anything, but one of the things as example is that the main character, Saphira, she decides to help Aiden by raising his baby dragon. Well, she's not really raising, but she helps him train because he doesn't want to train the dragon, he doesn't really know how, and he feels a little bit uncomfortable with having a baby dragon, and she's like, I can help you with this. When she starts training this baby dragon, like after 1 week, she starts acting as if this baby dragon is hers, and she starts telling him how he should react and how he should behave towards the baby dragon. She also tells him like, it's a baby, why do you get upset or mad about the behavior of the dragon? And I feel was very overreacting, and this doesn't happen once, but it happens quite a lot. She definitely feels as if this baby dragon is hers, but it isn't. She's just training it. Like, I don't know, it made me feel uncomfortable a couple of times. I really didn't like the way they were talking, definitely didn't like the main character. However, the story itself, I felt had potential, and that was also what kind of kept me going, and hence I finished it. I am still a little bit unsure about the rating, 3 stars or 2.5, but the story of Saphira owning a baby dragon cafe where customers are allowed to bring their baby dragons, and she's trying to keep this cafe running with wooden furniture. And obviously with having dragons in your cafe and wooden furniture, it doesn't really match because of the fire that the dragons breathe and stuff like that. But it is just very funny. And then this guy Aiden comes along, she starts to help him out. There's this romance that was blossoming up, which could have been really good, but it didn't really hit for me. I felt it was very rushed. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I'm quite sad about it, to be quite fair. I do think some people might really enjoy it. For me, it really was a miss because of the writing style. Then let's talk about a buddy read that I've been doing. Like, I'm currently rereading the Robert Langdon series with my mom because of Secrets of Secrets. That book has been released this month in September, and I still do not own it because we haven't reached that book yet. But we did read Inferno in September, and this was a reread of mine, and I really enjoyed it. I've read the Robert Langdon series until Inferno before. I've never read Origin, so that's going to be something fun to do in October. But yeah, I read Inferno before, and it's about Robert Langdon. He's a scholar, a professor at Harvard, and he gets dragged to Florence in Italy. And when he wakes up in the city, he can't remember a thing. Like, he doesn't know where he is, he doesn't know why he's there. And then he gets some help by nurse Sienna. She helps him. Someone tries to murder him and they escape, and they slowly start to try to get back his memories. They try to slowly, step by step, going back to things that he does remember and see what happened to him. And then they figure out that he's carrying something with him that is very dangerous. And they just have to solve quite a lot of clues. They have to try to figure out what the person who gave this dangerous thing to him actually means. And they have to go through the poem by Dante about Inferno, and they just try to solve quite a lot of mysteries. And I just really love that. It's like this treasure hunt mystery book, and I just love that. I love the way it's written. It was very enjoyable. However, if I have to compare it, and I do compare these in my mind with like the other Robert Langdon books as well, I personally think that this is like the one on the 3rd place for me, and I will give it probably a 3.5, mostly because there are a couple of things happening in this one that I feel are a little bit far-fetched. And this happens quite often in the Robert Langdon series, but this time around there were just a couple of things that I felt were a little bit ridiculous and took a little bit too long. Especially the middle was a little bit dragging. However, I still really enjoyed this one. And then we come to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and this time around I read the illustrated version of this book. I have read this book so many times. Like, this book shaped me as a teenager. I grew up with the Harry Potter books, and they definitely made me to who I am today, because I just kept rereading this throughout my teenage years, and I just love like this whole book series. And I've never read the illustrated version before, and I still had it on my bookshelf, and I decided to pick this one up because the school year this year also started on the 1st of September, just like Harry's, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to pick this one up. And I loved rereading this, but especially because of the drawings. Like, especially kudos to Jim Kay, who illustrated this book, because the illustrations are stunning. They are absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much, and because of that I just had a blast reading this book. And I'll show you guys a couple of inserts of the pictures or illustrations that I really enjoyed in this story. Right now it is obviously about Harry, a boy who finds out that he's a wizard, and then he goes to school to be told how to use his magic. There he makes some new friends. He finds out that a very dark wizard once tried to murder him, and he happens to be back. And Harry finds this out, tries to stop him. That's kind of like how the story goes. I just really love how this story is written, but mostly I really enjoyed reading this with all these beautiful illustrations, and that made my reads so much more magical than it has ever been before. And if you are a Harry Potter fan, then I highly recommend this one, simply because of the illustrations. It will definitely make your enjoyment of rereading this story so much bigger. And then to my last book I read in September, and that is A Witch's Guide to a Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Madana. This is a book that I've been waiting for so long, like ever since I read The Society of Regular Witches. I have been craving for more, and to be quite fair, this didn't disappoint. 5-star. Like, I love this. I loved the moment that I started reading this until the end. It is so perfect, exactly what I wanted it to be and expected how the story was gonna go, and I just had a lot of fun reading this. This is a story that follows Sarah. She's an innkeeper, and she accidentally, when she's 15 years old, she resurrects her aunt, because her aunt accidentally dies in the garden, and she brings her back. But by doing so, she also accidentally brings back a dead chicken that was buried in the garden. The magic that she uses by bringing back her aunt is forbidden magic, and because of that she loses a lot of her magic, and she is also banned from her coven, and she can't do anything anymore. However, there's still some magic left, and with this magic she protects the inn that she lives, and she kind of like uses this for little things, repairs around the house, making sure that all the rooms feel warm and cozy, and that kind of like the little stuff. And there are a couple of residents who started living in this inn as well, but all those residents are non-magical, so Sarah also needs to hide her magic. She also ends up having her nephew with her, and Theo is a wizard as well, so she also needs to make sure that no one really sees their magic. Only her aunt knows about the magic of her and her nephew. And it's just really a fun story where people who are not related to each other live with each other, and they slowly get to know more about each other, and they find out these types of secrets. There is a man, Luke, who comes to live there as well, together with his little sister, and his little sister has autism. And I absolutely adored and loved the way Sangu Madana has put autism in this story. Like, I have not encountered autism a lot in books that I read, especially not fantasy stories, and I just really enjoyed the way that she wrote about it, because it felt so real, and I know children with autism, and so I know how that is, how they can react, and I just really loved the way that she portrayed Posey in this story with her autism. She has a very severe form of autism, so she can't really communicate that well, and she's very locked inside herself, but staying at the inn kind of makes it happen that Posey is able to become a little bit more out there. She starts to interact with people a little bit more, which she has never done before. And one of the things that's also very important, and one of the reasons why Luke ends up living there, is because Posey, because of her autism, can't control her magic. And this story is just extremely heartwarming. The found family aspect, the romance that starts to bloom, the way they treat each other, respect each other for who they are. They do not judge each other because of how they look or how they act or who they are from the inside. They try to understand each other, help each other, and that's one of the things that I loved and felt was so heartwarming in the story. They really are there for each other. They try to help each other as much as possible, and I just really love the friendship and the found family that they create in this little inn. And there is obviously a little bit of a threat that also needs to be defeated that I enjoyed as well. This story is just, I think, one of the best that I read this year, and I don't know, it might be my favorite, not entirely sure, it might actually be. These were all the books that I read in September, or I'm still currently reading. I'll probably finish Uncharmed today or tomorrow, so I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to do that before filming this wrap up. But I really hope you enjoyed this video and my reviews. I would love to know what you guys read in September and what was your favorite read of the month. Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you do not know anything to say, then leave me a pumpkin emoji, because it is October, so we need to start adding some pumpkin, although I think I've been doing that quite a lot these days, but who cares. We want to see pumpkin emojis, and love to hear from you guys. If you're still here, then thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I just really love you all, and I hope to see you guys next week again with a new video. And oh, and stay tuned for this Sunday, because this Sunday I'm uploading a different video. I'm going through my sweater collection and decluttering my summer and winter wardrobe, and I don't know why, but I ended up filming it. I did it last year and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I did it again this year. So if you enjoy that type of content, this Sunday we have a little bit of a different extra video, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys then. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching.